What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the weekly narrative live stream. I'm your host, Jeremy. Today we have a little bit of the import from London. No. Yes, it's a product of England. So we'll be enjoying a little bit of this tonight. As we talk about the collapse of society, there's been a lot of stuff going on in the news in the past couple of weeks. It's kind of put a general sense of despair, I think. Not directly, it's not a news item that says, hey, they're going to launch nukes and then we're all going to die. But we're going to go over a few things that may, to the thinking person, should make you feel despair. Anyway, what's going on in the chat? I see you, Mitch, Jennifer. What's going on, guys? Come on in, grab a seat. We're also doing call-ins today. I'm going to try doing the call-ins again. So if you guys want, there's a link in the video description to the Discord. What's going on, Karen? Welcome. So we'll do call-ins after I go over all the news. What's up, Tara? So if you guys want to do call-ins, my plan for the call-ins is this. You can call in, talk about whatever you want, okay? It doesn't matter. I'm not like an expert on many things, kind of a jack of all trades, more type of personality, but I think I can provide value in that I'll give you someone to discuss an idea with you, someone who can look at things from a rational, logical perspective, someone who doesn't get upset at ideas that I disagree with. And if you disagree with me on ideas, that's even better. So call in if you disagree. Discord, link in the description below. You got to know how to use Discord. That is one prerequisite. But I'll pull in some callers later if we get any. We may not get any. I know I can be kind of intimidating, so that's fine. Let's jump into this pit of despair. The news in the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot of things, starting with, and I think one of the dumbest things. No, I'm not going to start with that one. I'm going to save that one. One of the biggest things, and I'm sure you guys may have heard about this. Gab.ai. Do you guys know what Gab.ai is? Gab AI is the Twitter alternative, and it's supposed to be, some people say it's supposed to be the Facebook alternative as well. Basically, it's kind of like a social media platform that specifically was created and operates on the basis of free speech. So they don't care what you post on there, unlike Twitter, where you go on Twitter and you say the wrong thing, you retweet the wrong person, they can your account, right? So Gab.ai is the solution that the people created in response to that, because everyone always says the same thing. They say, well, if you're going to get censored on your platforms, just create a new platform. If you're going to get censored on your Facebook, you're going to get censored on your YouTubes, your Twitters, whatnot. Social media is going to censor you. Well, the solution is simple, right? You just create your own platform. Create your own Twitter. Well, that's what Gab did, okay? Gab is a Twitter replacement. And it actually, if you've never used Gab, it's almost exactly like Twitter as far as the layout and the UI goes, the user interface, because they were specifically trying to provide a alternative to pull the market share from Twitter users. So they got shut down. Now, what does that mean? Shut down? Like, how do you shut down a website? It's the same way you shut down. So, okay, we saw how they shut down Alex Jones, right? So Alex Jones was a user on a site like Gab So Gab basically turned off his account, or YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they turned off his account, right? How do you deplatform a platform? Because that's what's happening now. You shut down an entire platform. How does that happen? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Because to run a business online, you have to use certain key pieces of infrastructure, right? You have to have an ability to take payments. You have to have web hosting. You have to have domain name service. So those infrastructure, the underlying infrastructure that sustains a platform, those products are now becoming part of the social justice wave against people who say and do the wrong things. They're making decisions. MasterCard is making decisions. PayPal is making those decisions. GoDaddy, which if you're not familiar with GoDaddy, is a web hosting site. And they also do DNS. So if you like the actual name gab.ai, that's an object that's owned. Somebody owns that in the internet, and they, whenever you type gab.ai into your web browser, it translates that into an IP address, a number. So that in itself is a service, which is also part of what GoDaddy offers, and they are revoking their services from gab.ai as well. Echo says, shouldn't have started their platform on the Asian network. What's the Asian network? Was it Joyent? Joyent, is that the Asian network that you're referring to? I know Joyent, I think, was their service provider or hosting provider of some kind. I know they are. Oh, gab.ai? No, I don't think that's what. I think they were going for because a lot of those top level domain names like .org, .com, .ai, I think they were going for like the tech version. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I thought that they were going for like the techie version, like artificial intelligence, AI. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Either way, it wouldn't matter because that's just a label. It's really who's providing the hosting, which is GoDaddy, I believe, in this case, possibly Joyent. Let's take a look at this article from The Verge. Gab.com goes down after GoDaddy threatens to pull domain. And this is from yesterday. Gab, the controversial social network with a far-right following. Now you're going to see, again, this in and of itself, deplatforming a platform is kind of like one of those moments that should make the average person go, wait a minute, what? Oh, what? Wait, what's going on? What? This doesn't seem right. So in order to soften that blow, to make this more palatable so that you can digest the idea of a whole platform being censored, you're going to see a lot of words being used like far right, alt-right, right-wing, stuff like that, which they're going to use to implant these ideas of hostility, violence, racism, whatever, in your head to make the idea of censoring an entire platform more palatable for you. Gab had its website pulled offline after GoDaddy gave it 24 hours to move to another service. The move comes as other companies, including PayPal, Medium, Stripe, which are all payment processors, and Joyent. I've never heard of that. I'm not sure what Joyent is. Stripe and Cloud Host, Joyent. Okay, so it's like a cloud hosting provider. Blocked Gab over the weekend. It emerged that the shooter, who I'm not going to name, who allegedly shot and killed 11 people at Pittsburgh synagogue, had a history of posting anti-Semitic messages on Gab. So never let a crisis go to waste, right? We have to use this to not only say that guns are bad. Now you notice it's not really the gun angle on this one. We're not hearing a lot of the anti-gun stuff, which is kind of strange because he did use an AR-15, as far as I understand. But this one, they're choosing to go after technology. Why do you think that is? Why is the scapegoat technology now and not the guns? Does anybody else notice that? Isn't that kind of strange? It's breaking from kind of the pattern, the template for mass shootings. You know, obviously we're gonna go for anti-white sentiment because the guy was white, anti-Trump in any way possible, even though he was never Trumper. But the anti-gun narrative seems oddly absent from the whole discussion. So this is what they're using. They're saying because one guy posted some anti-Semitic stuff on there that they have to take the whole website down. GoDaddy, and that's kind of how this is going to work now. So anytime PayPal or GoDaddy or whoever it is obligated to monitor the content of their people that they provide services to, anytime there's something questionable, they're going to be pressured socially. Like on Twitter, for example, people are going to tweet GoDaddy, how can you allow this to happen on your platform? How can you, this site is hosted by you. Do you not understand that this is racist? So they have to, in order to preserve their own business, they have to take these companies off of here. So the question of how do we overcome the censorship online for social media, you know, now that's really murky. It's a really, really murky question because the solution was always, we'll just create a new platform. Now it's, yes, Gab technically can like create their own web servers and do the hosting themselves, but then they don't have the convenience and the efficiency of the services being hosted by somebody else. They won't have like the denial of service protection. They won't have the capacity to handle large amounts of people. It was a very popular site. You need a lot of resources technologically to run a site like that. It's not easy to just fire up a rack full of computers to run this site on your own. Very technically demanding and challenging, which is why web hosts are, you know, their own market, because everyone wants a website, but no one wants to actually start their own servers to run a website. So that's discouraging because, I mean, now what? What, we have to create like a new internet? We have to create a new planet, like start over from scratch? How do we get over the censorship of the politically correct ruling class? Is there any way around it? And Gab was the best that they had. I didn't use it. I had an account there, but I never posted once on there because I hate social media. I barely even use my Twitter, and I'm about to delete my Facebook. I can't stand social media. I never got an Instagram, none of that. I hate it. Can't stand it. But it's still an important medium for people to communicate, especially political ideas. And now they've been destroyed. They're gone. So that's Jennifer says, Wikipedia already claims Gab is a far-right networking service and a safe haven for neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Yeah. Yep, because 0.1% of the users on the site are Nazis or white supremacists, which is true. But then everyone else who's using it now suffers because Gab actually stood for free speech, and they were encouraging people to post on there regardless of how politically correct or incorrect it was, which was their whole business model, because it's the same exact thing as Twitter. Same exact thing as Twitter. The only difference is that they don't have all these ridiculous speech terms of service guidelines. You know, if you post about this or that, you get your account deleted without warning, without reason. I mean, look at Gavin McInnes. Every Proud Boy had their account deleted for no reason. They got an email saying your account is suspended permanently. Reason, blank. No reason. Because they wanted to. Because Your message doesn't fit in with their goals and their ideas. So now you're forced to either use Twitter, or the alternative that I suggest is to delete it. Delete your Twitter, delete Facebook, delete all of your social media. I mean, Facebook just had an account breach of like 50 million accounts. Why does anyone use Facebook anymore anyway? Karen says, it seems like there would always be someone along the chain that could object and pull the plug. Yes, that's true. If Gab set up a server rack in their garage or wherever they're hosting it from to host their own website, right? So if they take over the role that GoDaddy had, their internet service provider, so Xfinity, Charter, Cox, Quest, you name it, they could say, oh, you're hosting this site with our internet service? No, we can't. No, I'm not going to allow that. No connection for you. We're going to cancel your service. So then what do? You can't start your own internet service provider. So you just go on to the next internet service provider until they find out, because they're going to get complaints because short-haired, shaved head, tattooed social justice warriors are going to email them nonstop until they delete their service. So that's discouraging story number one. Makes me weep for the future of the internet. Now, I'll also point out that the irony is that the people who were simultaneously crying so hard about net neutrality and, oh my God, we need net neutrality and this and that, or if you don't have it, the internet's going to be taken over. Those same people who are crying for net neutrality are the ones who are saying that we need to get rid of AI and we need to monitor white supremacists on the internet, and we need to, enforce strict terms of service and usage limits and all that kind of stuff. Same people. So, as with everything in politics today, there's always a heavy dose of irony. Here's the irony. Someone named Fully Shimmer says in chat that Freedom Watch is suing YouTube and Google for $1 billion. Freedom Watch, is that Dennis Prager's thing? I know he was suing YouTube, but I think he settled, or he quit. He stopped doing it for whatever reason. Anyway, let's get to the next piece of discouraging information that makes me want to pray for a Mad Max nuclear holocaust solution. The Simpsons. And I haven't watched The Simpsons in a long time. I used to be a big fan, but I haven't watched it in years. Now there's rumors going around that Apu is going to be leaving the show. Why is Apu, the Indian store owner, going to be leaving the show? Because he perpetuates Indian stereotypes, of course. So some people on Twitter are going around saying that people who are related to the show, saying that Apu is going to be on his way out. But there's been complaints about Apu for a while now. And this used to be okay. The whole thing with The Simpsons is that they kind of made fun of everyone. And I want to show you this picture to kind of point that out. Here is basically just a summation of The Simpsons and the characters. Okay, so Simpsons is a very, very old show. I think it's the longest running cartoon in history, which means that it's gone through various stages of our cultural development, right? So it was created during a time when it was okay to have a stereotypical Indian shop owner on the show. It was okay to have people who were addicted to alcohol and drugs and make fun of Asians with accents that are stereotypical, and Jews, and rednecks, and fat people, and the mentally ill. Okay, everyone is represented in here, except for, I don't think they've integrated any transgenders, but statistically speaking, even if there was 100 characters in the show, there wouldn't even be one transgender person, statistically speaking. So if they're being statistically accurate anyway, they probably aren't. But the point is, they've always made fun of everyone. And now, because the culture in which the show has been a part of is changing, this is kind of like the canary. It's like not the canary in a coal mine, but it's a canary in the coal mine. This is something that should be not a wake up call, but an indicator. This is like the weather vane on the top of your barn. Remember that movie Twister with Bill? Game over, man. Game over. What, he just passed away like last year. Twister, really good movie about tornadoes, right? And the whole thing was that once the wind chimes start ringing, and then that weather vane starts flying on top of your barn, something's about to go down. Something is about to happen, and it's not going to be good. There's going to be cows flying through the air, tires, trucks, hay bales. That's what this is. This is signaling that there's about to be hay bales flying through the air, cows flying through the air, barns, entire barns being lifted up and launched into the sky. That's exactly what this signals. It's yeah, and now Tara makes a good point in chat, and this is what a lot of people are saying, is that Apu is the epitome of the American dream, because somebody who came to America, started a business, and it was successful. That's it. But the fact that we can make fun of him, or his accent, or his skin color is not the same, then well, that makes him a target, and that makes him a victim, because there's something that we can make fun of him about. That gives him victim status. So that's discouraging. That's because it's such an old, it's a relic. It's like the Bible of culture and cartoons. It's a record. When people so geologists or meteorologists, they'll find there's really old trees in California, right? They're like 15,000 years old. And they drill through the tree, through all the different layers to see, and you can look at the layers under like a microscope. I don't know how it works. I'm not a meteorologist, but you can look at those layers and you can see, based on what those layers, how they changed through time, what the weather was like. That's what this is. I don't know what's with the weather analogies, tornadoes and stuff like trees, but it works. You're going to be able to look back and see how this changed. Simpsons, right? This is that old tree that's been there forever. You can do a core sample on The Simpsons and see how it's changed over the years. And that will tell you exactly where the limits, the goalposts of what's acceptable in culture, where those have shifted to. No, not sequoias, Tara. I know sequoias are huge, but there's just a couple of really super old couples. They're not as big as sequoias either. But yeah, same concept. You know what I'm talking about. There was a whole documentary about an Indian comedian who didn't like Apu. Oh, there's nothing more ironic than a comedian being upset about something being offensive. No, 15,000 tree. Bristlecone pine, I think. Maybe. Yeah, that's a tree. Liberty Prime says he cheaps out on supplies, though. Echo got it. Yeah, thanks. Liberty Prime, cool name, by the way. I like that. Looking forward to the Maybe trying out the new Fallout that's coming out, 74 or 76. Echo beat me to it. Sharp. Okay, so yeah, that's, you know, it's. Do you ever see yourself as living in history? Like, think about what life was like as a Roman before they knew their society was about to collapse. Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think that you're in the middle of something that could happen? But when you think back to the collapse of the Roman Empire, you don't think about really any individuals. No one's going to think about my life or your life. They can look at a couple things, though. You can reference, you know, a few historical markers to say, well, this was like a long-standing tradition. This was one of their things that they did for a long, long time. And as soon as that changed, everything went downhill. Does anybody else get that sense that maybe like The Simpsons and all the censorship stuff, that might be some of those signs? Like when they look back and study the history of America, because we're not going to be here forever. Who knows how many more years we have? Maybe 20, maybe 2,000. Maybe we're going to go intergalactic and then get taken over by the Reapers. Nobody knows. The point is, at some point they're going to look back and see these dramatic changes. And I feel like we're kind of going through some of those right now. As far as the principles that America has been living by and held itself to, you know, free speech, expression of thought, all that kind of stuff that really kind of makes us tick. It's going down the crapper. Freedom of thought. You can't even think. You can't even have your own memories. You can't even recite your own memories if they're politically incorrect. Do you know what I'm referencing with this one? That's right. If your memory, if you're reciting a fact about something that you lived and it's not relevant, or it doesn't fit within the guidelines of what's politically correct, you will get destroyed. How do we know this? Because we just saw Megyn Kelly get fired from NBC News, for remembering that people liked to dress up in blackface for Halloween. She wasn't making an argument for it. She wasn't saying that, oh, I think blackface is fantastic. Why not? She was saying, well, I don't like to paraphrase. Let's just go ahead and watch CNN's Chris Cuomo. Let's watch his reaction to what Megyn Kelly said. Take it away, Chris.
A segment on Halloween costumes can go wrong is when you make it about blackface being okay. Here's NBC's Megyn Kelly.
What is racist? Because truly, you do get in trouble if you are a white person who puts on blackface on Halloween, or a black person who puts on whiteface for Halloween. Like, back when I was a kid, that was okay as long as you were dressing up as like a character. There was a controversy on The Real Housewives of New York with Luann, as she dressed as Diana Ross, and she made her skin look darker than it really is, and people said that that was racist. And I don't know, I thought, like, who doesn't love Diana Ross? She wants to look like Diana Ross for one day. I don't know how, like, that got racist on Halloween.
White people putting on blackface and black people putting on whiteface are very different things. Kelly issued an apology.
Really? Really, Chris? Is it really different? Chris is just, you know, he's putting on his whole act, his whole thing of like, oh, I'm so outraged. The point is, did you hear what Megyn Kelly said? Did you listen? She acknowledged, she started her statement by acknowledging that it's not right. Okay, let's go back and listen to that real quick. Listen to the first thing that she says.
He's Megyn Kelly.
racist because truly you do get in trouble if you are a white person who puts on blackface for Halloween or a black person who puts on whiteface for Halloween.
You get in trouble for wearing blackface or whiteface. She acknowledges that. That's her acknowledgement of the climate right now. So the politically correct Bible states that, okay, the 8th Amendment is thou shalt not wear blackface. So she's acknowledging that. But then she goes on to say that she remembers when she was a kid, people did that and it was okay. And she got canned. She's gone. She's done. For that. Does that, Liberty Memes died? Yeah, wasn't that like some Twitter page or Facebook page or something like that? So, this is like some weird Minority Report, Blade Runner. If you've seen Blade Runner 2049, this is something that could, it seemed like this could fit as a narrative in that movie somehow, because the whole idea of that movie is that you can give people memories and change their memories, and they don't know what's reality and what's not. She had a memory that's not acceptable. So if we had the ability, we would go in and, just run a couple updates on her. Give her the newer version of the politically correct program, right? To erase those memories from her head, because clearly it's not okay to remember a simple fact that somebody you knew put black paint on their face at some point in time. Now, can we just simplify this just a little bit? I know some people like to think that they're super smart and they're super complex and intelligent, and that oversimplifying things makes you a simpleton. She got fired for saying that someone liked to put paint on their face. That's it. Not because somebody liked to beat someone else up, because somebody liked to put a noose around someone's neck, because someone liked to lynch somebody, because someone liked to spray him with a water hose, because somebody liked to force him to use a different water fountain, because somebody voluntarily puts paint on their face. She gets fired from NBC News. And of course she tried to apologize, but you can't appease the mob. It's just not possible. You can try and whine and cry and complain and beg for forgiveness. There is no mercy. There is no forgiveness in this cult, in this religion. If you disobey any of the commandments at all, immediate, swift damnation, eternal damnation. She's never going to be allowed back in. Ever. And that's how they operate. She got fired for her nuance, bro. Can I just have one stream where somebody doesn't mention nuance, bro? I'm living in his shadow. Wait, that's racist. Oh, now I'm going to get banned because he's brown. I'm just kidding. Nuance bro's tight. He's cool. Jennifer says, a costume is dressing as something you're not. It's just like people getting upset if an actor is not transgender but playing the role of one. The point of acting is to be someone else. Exactly. It's very true. And while we're on the topic, have you guys seen the Halloween costumes recently? I went out on Saturday and on Sunday to just look and people watch. Because I live in downtown in a big city, so it's fun. I like to people watch and observe. Just look at the costumes. I saw like some Jesuses, some popes, some banana guys, some scary clowns, a lot of promiscuously dressed women, of course, some lumberjacks, nothing too creative, but let me pose a question. This is something that I thought of. 20 million for 1 year. She got 69 million, by the way. Her contract was for 69 million. Sacramento's not a big city. It's all relative. Depends on what you're comparing it to. It's big compared to where I'm from. Why is it okay for... We have this narrative of like, don't objectify women, hashtag Me Too, this and that, but we encourage, maybe not explicitly, we encourage women to wear these super like ridiculous costumes. You know, they're not wearing any clothes. Okay, they're not wearing like any clothes at all, basically, right? You know what I'm saying? They go out as whatever, fairies or... And I just think that's a little ironic. It's like, let's objectify this class of people as much as possible. Let's encourage them to objectify themselves. But you want to put a feather in your hat? No. That's unacceptable. You cannot even reference the fact that you might potentially be using a piece of somebody else's culture. Now, if you want to objectify yourself and make yourself look like an object, empower women, hashtag Me Too, go ahead. It's perfectly fine. But a feather in the hat or an afro? Oh, you kidding me? You can't wear an afro as a costume. Are you insane? So yeah, the standards are just a little off. I guess maybe I'm out of touch as far as the costumes go, but I don't understand the standards that we have set for the costumes, because you got hashtag Me Too and all that stuff on one side, but then you super objectify that, and I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. The Mazagrian says, because women don't even know what they want. Hashtag Me Too, but go outside naked. Well, they want attention. I think we can all agree that women always want attention, right? That's kind of like an apolitical statement, I would hope. That's apolitical. Women always want attention. But to what extent do they sacrifice other aspects of their personality or their message or their, to get that, I guess. Karen says she doesn't agree. Uh-oh. Get in the Discord and have a discussion. There's a link in the description, guys. I'm going to do call-ins today, so if you want to join the Discord, what you need to do is... Let me window capture... Let me show you the Discord screen so you can see how this works. Okay, so this is Discord. You need to come over and join the Weekly Warriors channel right here. Let me make this bigger. So once you get in, join the Weekly Warriors channel right over here. Just double click on it like that. And then that will signal to me that you are a candidate for being pulled into the live calls. Now I got, let's see, we got one more topic to cover, I think. Let me check my notes here, and then I'm going to start doing call-ins, and we can talk about anything, okay? You don't have to ask me a question. If you just have an idea that you want to bounce off me, we can do that. The point is, I'm offering you a stable mental mind for you to have a discussion about an idea with, because I know you don't get this in real life, okay? Most people don't get rational discussion with somebody in real life, and that's kind of what I do with the protest videos that I do, right? I just go out and have a discussion. So I want to offer that service now here. I'm not pretending to be an expert on anything, but you can ask me questions if you want. Political, scientific, whatever, anything. Relationships, parenting. So there's a link in the Discord, link in the description for that. Go ahead and join if you want, and then we'll pull some callers in later. I want to talk about, I want to point this one funny thing out, and I want to see, since we're on the topic of standards, we just saw that Megyn Kelly got fired for recalling a memory, which was inappropriate. Her memory needs to be erased. Now, here's something that just happened recently that was a statement, not a memory, by someone on the other side of the political spectrum. And I want to see if we can apply the same standards to somebody on both sides of the spectrum. So let's take a look at Hillary Clinton. Now this is pretty recent. This is just from a couple hours ago. Hillary Clinton was doing a talk, and I don't know if this was a slip up. I'm not going to prescribe any moral judgments to what she said because honestly, I don't care either way. But if we're gonna set some standards, let's at least be uniform in how we apply them. So this is by Mark Dice, just because he was the first person that I found the video on. But let's just go ahead and watch the video and see what she says. 25 seconds long.
Or whatever, you know, that's childish.
What do you think of Cory Booker's? And you didn't comment on him, and you feel free.
Oh, I adore him.
What do you think about him saying kicked him in the shins, essentially? Start to get to that kind of political.
Well, that was Eric Holder.
Yeah, Eric Holder.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know they all look alike.
No, they don't. Oh, well done.
What if you were white and you said that about black people or Asians, or they all look alike? Now, I understand what she's saying. I'm not gonna take that statement and be like, oh, she's racist, because I did the same thing. Like 2 shows ago, I confused Keith Ellison with Cory Booker. Okay, so it's not. Yeah, they all look the same because they're all same skin color, same hairstyle. I mean, but now look at me. I'm defending Hillary Clinton. Okay, that's how dedicated I am to rationality. I'll admit that if you're responding to this and you're like, oh my God, you're racist, it's a little overblown. The point is, if you're going to apply a standard to Megyn Kelly, let's also apply that to Hillary Clinton. So if we're all deciding that the standard is that if you have an incorrect memory, a politically correct memory that references a black person in a negative way, then you need to get fired and shunned and shamed and damned to social hell. So can we apply that here? And if not, why? Look what you stooped to defending Hillary. The lengths that I will go to for free speech and rationality, that's how far I'll go. I'll defend Hillary Clinton. Jennifer says, it's okay, folks. She carries hot sauce in her purse, so she gets a pass. That's in reference to when Hillary Clinton went on a black talk show, radio talk show, and she was trying to relate to them, and it was really cringy. And she said, oh yeah, I keep a bottle of hot sauce in my purse. So can you imagine if Trump said that? Can you imagine? They'd be calling for his impeachment. Impeach! Racist! Racist! They'd be doing that. You'd see fists in the air. I would see marches in the street right now, outside of my window. I could open my blinds and I could see people marching in the streets if Trump said that. So all I'm saying is that we have this duality, right? Scott Adams talks about 2 movies. People on the left are watching one movie. People on the right are watching another movie. We're both looking at the same things, but we're seeing 2 different realities. I don't think it's good for society if you have 2 different realities going on at the same time. Because something like that, maybe, you know, what if it was Trump that said that? There would be some real consequences. But Hillary Clinton said it. She's white. She's a white woman on the Democratic Party, so it's not a big deal. There's going to be a certain point to where the standards that they set are going to be so absurd that there is actually going to be some damage being done. They're going to call for someone's head. They're going to, someone more important than Megyn Kelly, because obviously they already got her head. She got the guillotine. She got chopped. Chop, chop. I just think it's really discouraging and frightening, actually, that people are so adamant about applying these standards, but only when it applies to their ideology, only when it can provide benefit to their goals to achieve power, right? That's scary. If that doesn't scare you, if that doesn't make you think that a Mad Max situation is possible, you're not really paying attention. Because we have these like ingredients coming together. The inability to apply standards and the two reality situation, that's like, you know, the flour, okay? You need flour and sugar and eggs to make a cake. You need all these different ingredients to make an apocalypse. That's one of the main ingredients right there, is the fact that two people can't reconcile facts and standards, and they adamantly, religiously, emotionally apply those standards to their political enemies and let their people, their allies, take free passes on the exact same or worse actions. That's terrifying. That's really bad. I mean, that's been going on for a while. It's not like a new thing. It's been going on. It's been ramping up for the last couple of years. But, God, that is... You can't get through to people like that. You can't get into their skull. They're going to defend that ideology, and they're going to... I don't even know if they acknowledge deep down in their skull that they're not applying the standard uniformly. Do they know, and they're just, is like cognitive dissonance? They know, but they're choosing to appear like they're not. I don't understand how does your brain work that way? How do you survive in the real world if you can't? I don't understand that one. But another terrifying piece of information. I'm gonna make a prediction, and then we're gonna go to call-ins. Let me take a quick look at Discord here. We got a few people. In here. Oh, no one's in the... You guys, I see people join Discord, but you have to go into the Weekly Warriors chat channel if you want to join. Call in. Over here. Join this. Weekly Warriors channel. Join that if you want to do the call-in. I see people joining, so I know you want to be on the call-in. But I'm going to make a prediction. And then that prediction is this. Think about... I'm going to start the prediction with a question. What is the biggest collection or the epicenter of online pro-Trump, right-wing, in a non-confrontational way, right-wing, conservative, Republican? What is the biggest bastion of community? What's the biggest online community for Donald Trump supporters and Republicans and conservatives? What is that right now? I want to see a couple of guesses, because I have what I think is the answer. Oh man, this guy. I think this guy's new to chat, the Mazagrian, but he got it right off the bat. So this guy ruined it for everyone. He ruined their surprise. The Donald. Okay, so Reddit, yes, that site is cringy. The Reddit is a leftist, what's a good word for it? I want to say asshole, but let's say a den of leftism. Okay, everything. If you look at their politics subreddits, it's just all trashing Trump. Any kind of pro-Republican sentiments are just trash talked into oblivion. There's one forum on that site, which is like the biggest social news media site. You share stories and you upvote the stories and you comment on stories. That's it. The Donald is the biggest, in my opinion, pro-Trump community online. And I'm going to make the prediction that the Donald is going to get banned completely, removed from the site within 6 months. And I'm saying that because I'm seeing a ton of people calling for that to get banned, because every time something like this shooting happens, or the bomber, the MAGA bomber, every time something like that happens, the same way that they call for Gab to be destroyed because one guy used it, they use that. Every time something like that happens, you have to use it to advance your agenda. And the agenda is to shut down your enemy. I mean, that's what the agenda is on both sides. It's not like particular to one side. So they're going to use that as get an inch on your enemies, destroy the Donald. That's what they're calling for. Every time this stuff happens now, every time something happened in the last 6 months, year, I see the same thing. The Donald is a cesspool of hatred and white supremacy and Nazis. It's an outlet for the Russians to run their hacking and their subterfuge operations. It's going. It's going to go. Before 2020, for sure. Absolutely. But I think within 6 months. Especially when you understand who owns Reddit, who has ran Reddit. Like Ellen Pao, I think. Oh my God, some of the stuff that she said, and that every other subreddit on Reddit is extremely left-leaning. I don't want to say extremely left-leaning like they're extremists, but they're all very left-leaning. All right. And one final point that I got reminded of as I was going on that rant. Why is it that every time there's a shooting, we say, hey guys, let's stop using the shooter's name, but then we use the shooter's name? Does anybody else? I'm not going to say his name. I haven't said his name, and I won't say his name. It was in the article that I cited earlier, and I still didn't say it. Why? Why do we keep saying their name? Like this retard who shot up that synagogue, yes, he was online. He saw how people reacted to other shootings that may have contributed to him going out and actually doing it, because he thought, man, everyone's going to remember me as this anti-Jew, warrior or whatever. Stop using their names. There was a suggestion on there that I heard online. They should be erased. If you do this, if you do that, if you're a mass shooter or a bomber or an arsonist, whatever, you should have your entire history of existence erased off the record. Gone. Driver's license, social security number, name, everything. No pictures. Everything should be gone. Because there is an element of glorification to these actions. All right, let's see what's going on over here in chat. When Config started a conversation about something here. I've been advanced a few times and I don't complain about it usually. Why? Because I don't want to be a professional victim. Going to a bar or club and thing you'll find moral restraint and modesty is highly ironic. Most dating apps are designed to initiate fleshly impulses. Tinder just updated their app to hide the information icon on the profile, as if Tinder wasn't bad enough. Dating apps, yeah, that's a whole separate thing. Like the overstimulation of dating apps and Instagram, for example, the way that women are objectified and kind of like praised as gods on Instagram, they get so much attention. It can't be good. This behavior is starting to result in the left eating their own. Yes, yeah, they will. They definitely will. And but the problem with that is, as they're eating their own, everyone else, the rest of the ship is sinking too. So it's like I can't even stop for a second to enjoy watching the left eat their own because I'm on the same boat and we're all sinking. I'm sick of hearing hate speech by the left and mainstream media talking heads. The comment section of mainstream media channels is filled with people saying all conservatives are hateful. Yeah. You know what I find ironic is their use of the word bigotry. I don't think they understand what that word means. If you Google the definition of bigotry, which probably has been modified to some degree to fit someone's agenda because, you know, it's Google, and you get, basically it says anyone who is completely closed-minded to other people's opinions. That's what bigotry is. You're not open to other people's opinions. It doesn't mean you hate anybody. It just means that you won't even consider their opinions. Are they not doing that to the right? I have never talked to a socialist or a leftist at any of the protests that I've gone to or on the street. I just had a conversation the other day because on the weekends I like to walk around downtown. Occasionally I'll see people with signs. There was 2 older guys, older fat dudes with beards, dancing on the sidewalk with signs that said Trump's an asshole and the S's were swastikas and Trump's a fascist or something like that. I just walked up, I tried to have a conversation with him. Typical NPC responses, Trump's a fascist. Why are you out here? Because I like democracy. And all this kind of stuff. You know, it's like, they weren't interested in my opinions at all. And I wasn't going to make the stupid mistake of trying to convince them. I don't ever try to convince people when I talk to them. I just want to have a discussion. I want to know, I want clarity on what your ideas are. And the reason that I give pushback, or if I give my opinion, is to cross-reference, to compare, to say, well, maybe your version of reality isn't exactly, because here's a fact. How does that compare with your opinion? They're never interested in my opinion, ever. They hate my opinion. Are they bigots? Does that make them bigots? Are they bigoted because they hate Donald Trump? And my opinion is that Donald Trump does some good things. Do they hate me because I have that opinion? Does that make them a bigot? Technically, yeah. By definition, that makes them a bigot. So they use this word bigot. They throw it around like they're so holier than thou, mighty and pure. It's ridiculous. Jeremy, I need to know where you purchased that shirt. This is, I think it's Mark Anthony from like Kohl's or something like that, like 2 years ago. Or what shirt? Are you talking about the shirt that I'm wearing right now? Tara says it's in the merch section on weeklynarrative.com. I thought about doing merch. Speaking of my Halloween costume, are you going as Jeremy for Halloween? I went as a straight white male. So I dressed up in a nice black button-down shirt. You know, I did my hair, spiked it up, you know, shaved my face, was clean. I had a great cologne on. Probably smelled like Johnny Depp before he went crazy homeless. Yeah, and I, you know, I was just a normal dude. It was pretty scary, I'll say. I got a lot of weird looks, especially out here in California. I got a lot of strange looks. Some people ran away from me when they saw me because I was so scary. All right. We got a guy in the call-ins. Let's jump into the call-ins. There's one person in there now, but if you guys want to join, talk about anything at all, link is in the description to join my Discord. And then all you need to do is join the Weekly Warriors channel over here on the left. And then I will pull you down and we'll have a discussion. All right? Let's do it. Caller, Spiculous, you are live. What's up, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well, man. Where are you from?
I'm originally from, well, I live up in New York City right now because I'm a student, but my family is originally from West Virginia. Right
on. All right, so I gotta impose a rule here. If you get too autistic on me, I have to cut you off. So just saying. So what's on your mind? What's your idea? What's your question?
All right, so my question kind of deals with is, and also like I'm limited amount of time because I'm supposed to be going to bed soon because I have school tomorrow. But anyways,
sure.
When dealing with like the recent MAGA bomber and the shooter at the synagogue, do you think that it's possible for a human being to kind of get radicalized through the uses of memes.
Through the uses of memes. So you're referring to like Pepe and like the triple parentheses type stuff?
No, I mean, not. It doesn't have to ordain to only Pepe and all that. Like anything, in the sense of like,
I would.
at least whenever you look at the, if you look at the Mega Bombers like truck and all the like the whole.
Yeah.
Like honestly, some of the memes are just even cringeworthy to begin with. But my question is, do you believe that? Like even sometimes they kind of use this in like the Donald. They talk about like meme magic.
Yeah.
And I think to a certain extent this is true, that memes can be used to like alter a way that someone thinks. And
Absolutely.
do you think that kind of?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would say yes to your question. I would say memes could definitely potentially radicalize someone. You know, that's kind of an extreme end of the spectrum on how they could manipulate or influence your thoughts. But if you think about it, a meme is really just a medium. It's another medium of information, right? It's not really any different than a radio broadcast, a video. It's just another way for someone to absorb information. And now, you know, you can make the argument that there's not a lot of content in a meme because it's generally just a small picture with a few words, but it still portrays an idea, and you can have, you know, ideas on there that could potentially lead someone to think a certain way. Now, do I think it's likely that they could radicalize people? No. But can they influence what you think? Absolutely. Because again, I think it's just another medium of information.
All right, because again, this kind of ties into like where stuff cannot be kind of black and white in the sense that, for example, and this is because again, this is something that ordains to like what my master's dealing with, and I study with like transnational security, which is pretty much looking at like terrorism and all this other stuff.
What kind of security?
And so transnational, so it deals with I mean pretty much anything that's like FBI, CIA type related stuff that deals with like from ISIS, Hamas to like the IRA to like a bunch of other groups. But anyways,
very cool.
The kind of it kind of leads to a black and white area where it's like, for example, especially, I mean, if you look at the UK right now, they have it where anyone who has any form of propaganda that advocates for, let's say, like a terrorist group or towards like a hate group, you can get jailed for that and you can get a fine for it.
Right.
And so there's also talks about this in America about them implementing like a same system like this. And the question I think that, and this is where it's so unclear because there's so much black and white, is if memes can lead to a form of radicalization in the same way that, like, for example, ISIS propaganda could kind of stir up people to go join their group. Where do you think lines for that kind of stuff should be drawn? Because if we can kind of show that like memes, again, at least from like looking at empirical data, shows that memes do in fact can radicalize a person.
Oh yeah, I definitely
so
believe
this
that.
is where. So again, this kind of ties into that whole like I would consider myself like a conservative, but it's like the line of like the free speech.
Well,
stuff.
Are you concerned about videos being censored, or like Twitter posts or Facebook posts? Like videos, just videos, for example.
I mean, I think, again, like tying back into the whole like the Donald. I mean, they post memes. Again, I never seen anything that was, I guess, fall into underneath the terms of like hate speech. In fact, I think more of it is in. I think you find more of it in like 4chan or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like something that honestly has me like thinking it since since we started talking about like the whole, I don't know. And it's kind of like kind of like how people talk about like how free speech, and like I agree in a sense that like free speech in essence is like a good thing. But I think also whenever people talk about the whole I'm a free speech absolutist, it's kind of like an oxymoron at the same time, because you can't really say America has free speech whenever you can get fined for saying stuff that are, like slander and all that type of stuff.
Right. Yeah, so I think I'm not worried about memes specifically being targeted like in a legal sense. I think it definitely could be targeted in a cultural sense. And I actually suggested as a kind of like a hashtag platform for the left, I suggested the hashtag, because we have hashtag jobs not mobs for the right. I suggested hashtag dreams not memes for the left, because that would kind of point out the fact that kind of what you're saying is that memes can be used to spread negative ideas. And I think people are starting to realize that. But as far as them being specifically targeted in a legal sense, how do you define what a meme is? Like, and as far as the law goes, like, same kind of thing with hate speech. How do you define what hate speech is? How do you define what a meme is? It just any picture with text on it? So like any kind of advertisement, is that going to be considered like could it be potentially a meme? How do you constrain that? And if they were to go down that path, they would use that definition again in the same way that I've kind of mentioned already in this podcast, is that they'd apply it in one standard to one group and a different standard to another group. You know what I mean? So it's scary to think about.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is where I think that's so. There's just so much no clear-cut answer in a sense.
There's not. Yeah, it's like, what is hate speech? There's no really clear-cut answer for that either, right now, in writing anyway, or in stone, and we're still kind of fighting over that.
Yeah, well, that was kind of my 2 cents. I guess maybe to start
cool, man.
Getting the call or the ball rolling. And like I understand that like someone right now in the chat said that like hate speech is subjective, and I totally agree with that. But I also think that like that whenever we call ourselves like a free speech society, I think that's again it's false, because again, if you say something, you can get fined for slander. If we were truly an embodiment of free speech, somebody should not even be getting fined for getting slandered, since again it's kind of like they're right. As well as the fact that realistically anyone should have the right to kind of go outside and like say the N-word, but the fact that they're not saying it, it of itself implies that there's limitation. You're not truly in a free speech society.
Yeah, no, we're not. We really aren't. And yeah, thanks, man. It's very thought provoking. I appreciate you joining the chat.
Yeah, no problem, man. Take care, bro.
You too, man. See ya.
See ya.
So that was. He brings up a good point with like libel and slander, for example. I think that's different, and I want to point out my thoughts on that. I think libel and slander are different because in those cases you have the ability to present damages. So in a legal sense, you need to have damages to claim, a suit against somebody. So you could say, this guy lied about me, an actual lie, he lied, and then that caused me to experience, I lost my sponsorship, or I lost my this and that. So it wasn't true what he said, and then I got damages somehow from that. The damages, when it comes to using hate speech, is there is no damages physical, monetary, it's emotional, right? So when someone says, I saw people wear black paint when I was a kid for Halloween, people get their feelings hurt. There's no damages. So there's no legal basis for doing anything against that. Now that could change, but I think that's one distinction that I would make in like the libel and slander kind of comparison to hate speech. All right, let's go ahead and call. We got another caller here. Caller, you're live. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, man. Welcome to the chat. Where are you from?
I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
It's probably better if you mute the video. I can hear that in the background, too.
All right, there you go.
So you can just... Sweet, man. It's Columbus, Ohio. Welcome to the chat. What's going on? What's on your mind?
Oh, I just wanted to see what this is all about. I mostly come from a conservative point of view, and I'm trying to get active in the community and the environment around me, and I just want to know what you're doing.
Right on. So let me ask, how did you find my channel?
It just popped up in suggested views, actually.
Oh, So what I do is I go to political protests from as an objective, as a standpoint as I can, and I interview the protesters, which can get a little hostile sometimes, but I want to kind of encourage people to have discussions with other people that they disagree with. That's kind of the whole point of what I do, and that's kind of what I'm doing with the call-ins now. But when there's not protests going on, I do live podcasts just to talk about content and keep the audience engaged. So that's what we're doing right now. What's the climate like out there where you're at?
Right now I'm just trying to raise a family. So,
Nice.
I just have my traditional values, and I just
It's rare now.
love the rest of the world to just kind of share it and kind of foster a family and know what that's all about so that they can, I don't know, stop having so much divisiveness and hate in their heart. And you wouldn't have to go out to all these protests.
Right? Then my YouTube channel would die.
Right.
Are you married?
Yeah, I'm recently married for 2 years, and I've got
Nice.
a 5-month-old daughter. And I've been semi-active voting in the past, but as of late, you start a family and you start thinking about the future a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like you just see the climate out there, and it's like, what do you do? How do you like talk to people without offending everyone? How do you
Yeah.
even talk about your values without like, you know, stepping over these offensive triggers to other people? So
Right. Kind of walking in a minefield every day, at work with your friends, when you're out having a drink at the bar. Like it varies depending on your community, but like for me out here in California, man, I got to be careful. I can't wear
yeah.
any kind of political. I can't even wear like my Gary Johnson shirt out in public because people will get upset at me.
Yeah, well, you're putting your face out there on YouTube right now, so
Yeah, that's true. And I've been recognized a few times in real life. But let me ask you, have you always what's your level of political engagement? Did that increase as you decided to like start a family?
yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I live in like the suburbs of a city right now, and I don't know how to like get my message out besides just talking to my neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel like that, you can just tell that some people are Republicans and some people are obviously, I mean, people have blue lights up here, for instance, for Blue Lives Matters,
Oh,
and
okay.
and
Yeah.
like, there's this big thing with the Black Lives Matter, was going around and they were anti-police, so the police were putting up blue lights,
Mm-hmm.
and like that kind of draws attention to, oh, I'm a Republican. I'm like,
Right. You kind of signal yourself as being on one side of the spectrum.
yeah, so like the atmosphere out there is just so, you know, so upsetting right now, and I don't know how to get past that initial hump. So,
What do you mean? What do you mean by upsetting? You're just because everyone's the sensitivity of everyone's personality. Is that what you mean?
yeah, definitely. I mean, you try to have a conversation with somebody, and the old rule is you can't talk about like politics, you can't talk about religion whenever you're trying to just have a normal conversation. And I think it's only
Mm-hmm.
gotten worse. You can't even talk to your own family about politics and Thanksgiving anymore.
Yeah, it really, it's getting rough. I think one thing that I would try if I had family and friends, for example, well, one thing that I've found that works is to kind of avoid talking directly about opinions, but focus more on principles and underlying values that people have. And it's really hard to do that because everyone, when you talk to someone, what are the chances that they haven't gotten some kind of input from CNN or Facebook or Twitter in the last couple hours? Everyone's constantly stimulated with all this negative energy all the time. So they always have some kind of opinion that bottled up that they want to spew out at the first possible chance, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm being honest, I think the source of the problem is really our overstimulation, in that we're taking in all this information, but we never have the opportunity to really discuss and talk about our principles, our values, what we really value with other people, I think if we can just get that initial anger and that outrage, which is the fact that what you're saying is true, is an indication that the media is succeeding, and because their plan is to get people outraged so that you can't have these discussions. Because if you could have discussions, then maybe people will start to change their minds. But yeah, it's really tough because we're you know, I hate to say we're victims, but we're kind of all victims of this overstimulation, technological revolution that we're living in. And if everyone disconnected from that, if they stopped watching CNN, stopped watching Twitter, I think, you know, what I'm doing is I'm going to delete my Facebook. I'm going to encourage all my friends to delete Facebook. I'm going to encourage my friends to delete Twitter. I'm going to encourage my friends to stop watching the news. And one thing the trap, I think you can get trapped at trying to make a big change. But when it comes to community, real community, the smallest unit of community is a family. So you're already winning there, but you also, your friends and your family, you have to start on like an individual level. If you can convince one of your friends to delete Facebook, I think that's a win. To go out and expect that you're going to have like this great rational conversation with somebody about politics tomorrow, if you just use this one particular technique, or if you do this layout, this plan, I think that's setting yourself up for failure, because that's not going to happen. It's taken many years for people to get conditioned to the point to where we are now, and it's going to take some time to where we can be able to have those discussions again. So just go for the small victories. I think that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to principle, and hopefully that works. But
sounds like you got it down, man, with the family and everything. So I wish you luck
yeah.
with that.
Yeah, thanks for the chat, man. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Hey, thanks for coming in.
Yep, have a good one.
You too. See ya. All right, so man, that's encouraging to hear that there are people who are still starting families. That's one of the other things I wanted to touch on, and there's some people who've been talking about it in chat. If anyone wants to hop in Discord, there's a link in the description. But we were talking about dating apps, and now that the caller brought up families, that I think this is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately too. Because my parents, now that I'm 30, my mom is asking me if I'm dating anyone or if I'm seeing anyone, right? So it's kind of like that parental expectation there. It's like, But the point is, women and men, relationships in general, are under attack. Like the caller that I just had on right there is the public enemy #1 of the left, the Democratic Party, who focuses on every other class of individual classification of people other than the family, which is the smallest like core unit of a community. They don't want you to have a community based on family. They want you to have a community based on your skin color or your, height, your weight. If you're fat, you can go into the fat group over here. If you're black, you can go into the black group over here. Asian over here. You know what I mean? Only problem is you didn't send a link to Discord. There's a link to Discord in the description. It should still be there unless it got deleted somehow. But, everyone is overstimulated with these dating apps, and everyone's complaining at the same time that they can't meet anyone real. Oh, I can't just go out and meet someone anymore. Or where do I find people who actually have good virtues, good values? If I was a girl, not to dog on girls, but let's be honest. I think the core target market for Instagram and social media in general is girls. And there's been studies on this about how social media negatively affects women, because women, if a guy wants to punish a guy, he'll just go beat him up. If a girl wants to punish a girl, she'll socially humiliate or disconnect her. That's how they operate. They base their value off of social status, right? So you make an Instagram, and you work out all the time, so you post pictures of your butt all day, and then guys go on there nonstop. Imagine having hundreds of guys every single day, hundreds, going on your Instagram, giving you all the attention you could ever want. I would be a little less inclined to go out and interact with the real person, because I could just post a picture of myself online and I get bathed, showered in attention. I get that that social value without ever having to interact with the real world. So social media is definitely killing real human interaction. What girls are you dealing with? Well, maybe you're a little more traditional, Karen. I'm just saying, in general, there are studies showing that, well, like exactly what I said, women, girls, young girls, even really young girls, like they exclude you from your friend group. That's how they punish you. Or if you do something disfavorable or unfavorable towards your community, your small group of friends, they remove you from the friend group. That's how they punish you. Whereas guys, they just say, "What, you want to go? You want to go?" And they do the, the whole fighting thing. Traditionals dog whistle for old? No way. Traditionals, I don't use dog whistles. I hate that word, dog whistle. I wouldn't dog whistle you, Karen. All right, we got another caller. Let's pull him in. Most people don't have value or virtue anymore. Yes, unfortunately, that's true. When config, there's a town called Uranus in Missouri. Let's call in here. All right, caller, you are live. Your mic is muted though, so you have to Okay, caller left. Probably didn't have his stuff set up. That's okay. Feel free to join again if you want. There are men on Instagram posting selfies too. Yes, I understand that, Tara. Just because there are exceptions doesn't mean that the trend isn't true. But I think the majority of the big followers, the big people accounts on Instagram are probably women. Now, if there weren't people posting pictures of butts on Instagram all day, or like bikini models. Have you heard this term Instagram model? That's a thing that I didn't really know about until like last year. Instagram model? That's a thing. That's like the legitimate occupation. Instagram model, which basically just means you take pictures of yourself and you post them online. It's WinConfig brings up a good word, which is narcissism. I don't think it's narcissism. I'm going to go with a more neutral term. I'm going to call it solipsism. Just the idea that, we're all self-centered really, and self-serving to a large degree, and that's kind of what that does. That's a means to provide, I want to make myself feel better. What does Instagram do? What benefit does Instagram, posting a butt picture on Instagram, what benefit does that provide to the thousands of guys that drool and post comments and donate to their Patreons and buy their products and click on their sponsorships? What, it just seems so fake. Which is why, I'm not even on Instagram, because I know what the game is. I know what that's all about. I can post pictures on Twitter. I can post pictures on Facebook. Now, I'm not going to do that because I'm probably going to delete both of those, but narcissism exists on both ends. This can be boiled down to a numbers game. The great prophet Jordan Peterson stated that the world has always had more women than men. Narcissism exists on a spectrum, unlike gender. Usually it exists on a scale between 1 and 10. Yeah, well, everyone's kind of narcissistic in some ways, right? I feel really, really awkward and kind of like dirty, I guess is a good word for it, if I ever try to take a selfie. And I can't even say the word without feeling disgusted. Because just the fact that, like, I'm going to take a picture of myself. Oh, how's my hair today? God, get over yourself. I can't stand that. I know there's probably a lot of people in here that like to take selfies. It's fine. And now we have, not to go down the rabbit hole of women and relationships, but we have filters now where you can press a button on your phone and it further enhances your physical appearance, as if putting on pounds of makeup wasn't enough. You can click a filter and it makes your eyes bigger, it smooths out your skin. Like, Jesus. And these are the pictures that girls are using to post on their dating apps. So this is what guys have to, they see this, they think, okay, if this is what I'm getting, I mean, obviously not in the case of giant eyes and like sparkles and stars on their head. You don't think you're going to see that in real life, but you know, it's like, why are they photoshopping their face? That wasn't acceptable to do like 4 years ago. You couldn't Photoshop your face and then put it on a dating app. Now, it's totally fine to do makeup and then Photoshop your face and then put it on a dating app. Perfectly acceptable. So, yeah, the beauty standards thing, that's kind of going men too. Yes, I know men do too. But I'm not looking for guys on my apps. Filters are non-invasive cosmetic surgery. I don't think my arms are long enough to take, Jennifer. Yeah, that's good. You should be taking selfies. To be fair, you were awkward just like the rest of us, man. Don't take it to heart. I don't take it to heart. But I see people who do this all day. They're so vain. They're taking pictures of themselves. Oh, and they only use the one with the right angle, right? Like, oh. And they do this. They do their fingers under the chin to hide their double chin. I'm not fat, I swear, but I'm only going to take a picture of my face. You can't see the rest of my body, and I'm using a filter, and I have a lot of makeup on. Seriously? Do you know how hard that makes it to find? No, I've never had a situation where I've met someone in real life and they were like completely different, but still, it's like, come on, man. Jeremy has no heart. That's true. I don't. I am a robot. But you know what I mean? Everything is so fake. And we're going after... Is anyone really going to argue with me that the priority seems to be attention and narcissism and solipsism and not, like the previous caller, starting a family, having traditional values? You know what I mean? Is anybody going to argue that the priorities are a little off? That's what I wanted to touch on, is the whole concept of like dating and relationships and stuff like that. It's discouraging, man. When you convince women that they should get a job and a career over starting a family, and guys have to compete over filters and all this with Instagram commenters and everything, because they are competing for attention. Don't mistake it for 1 second. It's man, what's going to happen to families? Are we even going to be making kids anymore? Does anyone know that sex is actually for having kids? Does anybody know that? I don't think they do. Degeneracy. MySpace angle hides all the fat. Yeah, exactly. This one. Like, look at how life has changed and how many people are having children out of wedlock. Yeah, they're having children out of wedlock. We're aborting more kids than ever. I mean, we're just like basically killing them immediately. You can't have sex with or procreate with selfies. My argument is that our priorities are not in a state conducive to the maintenance and perpetuation of a healthy society. That's all I'm saying. We're encouraging all this sexual deviancy. Not that there's anything wrong. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care. But let's just be neutral about it. Let's not encourage this or that. Let's just let the kid do whatever. You know, the fact that we're kind of encouraging 5-year-olds to be transgender drag queens. Is that really conducive to a healthy mindset for a kid? Not with that attitude. I go outside the country. The women are still looking for relationships. That's one thing I've heard. That, these kind of postmodern values, if you can call them values, they're really heavy in America right now, but they're starting to disseminate to other countries. So get it while you can. You know, travel around, see if you can meet like a traditional Greek girl or something like that. Because there's none left here, man. If you want a chick with tattoos and piercings, I know it's a little hypocritical but pink hair, shaved heads. I think I'm a little more stable than most of those types. You can find plenty of those. plenty of feminists. You know how many? I'm not trying to make this about my dating app usage, but you know how many accounts or descriptions that I see come across that say swipe left if you voted for Trump, or swipe left if you're a Trump supporter, or no thanks if you're a Trump supporter. You know, some definition of like disqualifying you based on your political preference. Oh my God. I am in love with stereotypes because they're stereotypes for a reason. I have tattoos, but I'm a stable person. Hey, it is definitely possible to have tattoos and be a stable person, but the overwhelming trend probably doesn't support that. You voted Trump or support Trump? I wouldn't consider myself like a Trump supporter, you know, like hardcore. Like, I'm not going to wear a MAGA hat unless I'm trying to provoke people to make a video or something. I'm just someone who prefers. I thought you were yes, that's exactly what it is. I'm anti-Trump. I'm a contrarian. And right now, the popular opinion, popular kind of sheep mindset is to be, oh, Trump bad, orange man bad, orange man bad. And I love being contrarian. I love taking the point of view against the norm, because it's way more fun. It's way more intellectually stimulating. It's more challenging. You are in a sanctuary state, and the left has turned politics into morality. Well, yeah, man, I can't wait to see. I have to vote. I have my early ballot that I'm going to mail in for California, and we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. But yes, politics is morality now. If you're looking at, for the example of the border, for example, it's not a question of, if we let all these people in, it's going to destroy the wages of our weakest economic classes right now, because these people work for $5 when we have, minimum wage laws. The people who are working for minimum wage are going to lose their jobs to people who will work for $5 an hour. It used to be an economic argument, and that's actually what the Democrats used to say. All these people who are saying that they're pro-immigration now, Chuck Schumer, Bill Clinton, these people all used to be anti-illegal immigration for that reason, economics. Business Democrats, the Business Democrat Party, right, used to be actually looking at economics. Now, what's the argument? Now the argument is, oh, no borders, no wall, no USA at all. They're human too. They deserve sanctuary. They deserve, a safe place to bring their family and all this. It's not an actual argument. It's just a moral judgment on people who don't have the same opinion to say that I'm morally superior to you because I want to help these people. Look, right over here, we have this box of healthcare. You're choosing just to not give this box of healthcare to these people? Why would you do that? You must be morally inferior to me because I would just take this box of free healthcare and give it to them without any implications or understanding of the economic impact of what it takes to even make that box. They just think that healthcare is there and you can give it to all these illegal immigrants. So they don't. It's not politics anymore. It's all about morality and who's the better person, virtue signaling, and who's more evil. That's actually the key word. That's the main difference between the Republicans and the Democrats, is that the Democrats see the Republicans as the enemy, but they're also evil. See, there's an extra moral judgment added onto there. Republicans see Democrats as an enemy, but that's it. They're just enemies. They're not going to try to destroy their lives. They're not going to try and silence them. They're not going to, because there's no moral judgment at the end of that. The Democrats morally judge the right by calling them evil. So you're right. It's all about morality now. It's not politics anymore. You should always be happy to make jokes, have fun. The world sucks if you can't have fun. Oh man, I'm here, man. to make jokes and have fun and laugh at all. I'm laughing at the sinking ship. I'm enjoying it. It's good to at least be conscious that it's happening. You know, on the Titanic in the movie when that like the violin guys are still playing. That's me. I'm just sitting here like, man, look at this fantastic destruction. Jeremy isn't a Trump supporter. He seems to support and be transparent as to what he is right in view. I think he would do this for any politician. He seems to approach politics with nuance. I just defended Hillary Clinton on the stream, okay? So, like, actually defended Hillary Clinton. Not in a fake way. Us taxpayers dish out $135 billion a year on programs for illegals. $44 billion of that is for medical care. We need more illegals to burden our tax system further. We need basic economic classes for people to go to so they can understand how taxes work and where public programs come from. Oh, free college, free healthcare. Where do you think that money comes from? It's kind of sad, but at the same time, not our problem. Yeah, I don't know. It's at some level, I feel like I kind of had a duty to fight back, you know, because people have fought and died for me to get to this point and to create this country and how the greatness that it is. So like, I feel like there's a duty, and maybe that's what this YouTube channel is. It's small, you know. I'm only talking to what, like 20 people right now, but that's my way of fighting back. I'm not going out and beat people up. I'm starting small. And I think that's in the world of Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, where you can reach millions of people at once, people feel like they're not making an impact unless they're getting millions of views or retweets. But true change starts from the bottom up. And if you just talk to one person and just make them think, you don't have to make them think your way, just make them think. Just try to open their mind a little bit, you know, and that's a victory. So I feel like I'm fulfilling my obligation to fight back by just trying to have discussions with people and open their minds. I'm not trying to get anyone to think a certain way. I'm just trying to make you think. I would never try and convince anyone to think a certain way. That's a futile endeavor. Linda Sarsour to make a speech on Jewish shooting is the most ironic thing ever. Yeah, Sarsour is like she's like a court jester. She's kind of like a clown that's just put out on display to be as loud and obnoxious as possible, to get as much attention as possible for, you know, whatever political cause that she seems to be parroting at that time. She doesn't have any substance. She doesn't have any... There's nothing there. It's just like a fake, transparent house of cards. Hey, Josh Hawk, welcome. Number 21. 21 million, that is. The arena is full right now. FTWBK, I'm guessing that's for the win something, says co-organizer of Women's March was Arab terrorist. Yeah, Sarsour, I'm guessing you're referencing that. It's a bit ironic. And it kind of goes back to the whole laughing at the sinking ship thing. You got to admit, the left, they're giving you plenty of ironic content to laugh at. That's one of them there. Also, advocating for Sharia, advocating for importing a group of people who want to marginalize, attack, dismember, kill gay people, control and suppress women. You know, not Sarsour, her co-organizer. Okay, so I don't know who you're referencing, but I get the general gist of what you're saying. Still ironic. Let's see. We have any other call-ins? Nobody is in the callers. I see Jen. I see a couple people in Discord, but they have not made it to the call-in channel. So I'm guessing that means you couldn't figure out how to use the program, which is fine. We'll do call-ins again. I go by my beliefs first, but that's another topic. Well, you know, I'm trying to and I'm applying this in my personal life in almost everything that I do now, in like, you know, personal relationships with friends, relationships with women. I find myself not nitpicking. I'm not nitpicking on things like, oh, you call yourself a liberal. I can't associate myself with you, or you do this particular action. I can't associate myself with you. Or on the flip side, I'm looking for this particular quality, but you don't have that, so I'm not as interested. I'm looking more now at principles and values that people have, the underlying things that make them kind of like who they are, because your preferences, your opinions, those things can change day to day, right? Week to week, they can change nonstop. So it's, especially in this highly emotional climate of the 24-hour news cycle that's constantly changing. I mean, what we're talking about this week in the news is going to be completely different next week. So, you know, all these opinions, they're not as relevant. And if you can dig through those, that's kind of what I was talking about with the last caller that came on. It's like, if you can get through the day-to-day opinions and the surface level stuff that you're kind of sold, the things that you can see immediately, the brightly colored ideas and opinions, if you can get past that, and it takes a little bit of more work, which is why most people don't do that. But if you can get past that and look at the principles and values that they live by, and maybe base your preferences off of those instead. Tara says, anyone see the report that Muslims raised funds for the mass shooting? No. Put your Discord in chat again. It's in the description. I'm going to look into that. But I shared and liked and left a comment on your stream. There you go, bud. Hey, thanks, man. Straight Sith mail. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. My friend is studying Akkadian, not something impractical like business. I have no idea what that is. I'm perfectly okay with admitting my ignorance when it's applicable. But let's see, what are we at? We're at an hour and 40 minutes. It's a pretty long stream, guys. The call-ins are pretty good. There's some discussions. I'll do call-ins again next time. I'm going to be more active in the Discord now. I want to try and make this more of a call-in show, interactive, because it's getting harder for me to come up with quality content every week. And this gives a way for us to kind of continue the idea of the core idea of the channel itself when it first started, which is having discussions. So we'll do that. Akkadian is an ancient dead language. Well, that's pretty cool. Probably not. I see your joke. I get your joke now. Yes, that doesn't sound very practical. Pre-invite left and right-sided guests. I'm gonna work on that. I've been sending out invites to a lot of people actually. Oh, we got somebody that just joined Discord. Let's get him in here. Toot. Caller, you're live.
Oh, hello.
What's going on, man? Where are you from?
I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Right on. A lot of stuff going on there lately.
Oh yeah.
So
I was expecting to be on the call. I just want to join the Discord. That's fine.
Oh, that's all good. Yeah. So that channel that you were in is that's for where I pull people down into the show. But that's totally cool. I'll let you go back up there. Maybe next time you can hop in. But thanks for joining the Discord anyway, man.
Oh yeah, no problem.
All right, I'll see you later. All right, I kind of ambushed him there. So yeah, I'm gonna work on getting some guests. I want to do some kind of discussions on here, and what party will win the responsible debate? I see each party trying to posture for unity. Which party will win the responsible debate? Well, you know, Trump does have the upper hand right now because he's, for two reasons, he's not politicizing these recent tragedies as much as the left is, and also he's going for like the harshest penalties. So when we're kind of debating over, oh, these people are encouraging these people to do these bad things in the name of this political ideology, which is kind of the narrative right now. So in terms of that particular narrative, I think Trump actually is on the right side of that, because he's calling for super strict, punishment for those people. Law and order, yes, exactly. Law and order, a law and order posture, and a law and order. It's unless you're super ideological, law and order is objective. If you want to change a law, but you either enforce it or you don't. So I think that's a good stance to have. And I think that's probably, the best way that he could have handled that going into the election. So remember to vote. Follow me on Twitter if you want, twitter.com/weeklynarrative. If you want to help support me financially, I hate plugging that, but patreon.com/weeklynarrative. It's always there for you to help me fight back. And that's it, guys. Discord is in the description if you want to join, hang out there. I'll get some callers from there next week. And I will see you all next Monday. See you guys. Have a good week.